What Toto Wolff just said about Lewis Hamilton is completely shocking, and it shook not only Ferrari, but the entire Formula One world. This isn't your typical paddock gossip or passive-aggressive back and forth. It's a total emotional outburst from the man who helped build Hamilton's dynasty at Mercedes. After a weekend in Hungary that can only be described as a psychological breaking point for Lewis, Toto came out swinging. And what he revealed not only changes the conversation, it resets the entire narrative. Let's not beat around the bush. Hungary was an emotional disaster for Hamilton. Eliminated in Q2, humiliated while his teammate took pole, and stuck in a race where nothing worked. But what he said afterwards was what set off all the alarm bells. "I'm useless. They should probably change drivers." For a 7-time world champion to say that out loud, that's not just frustration. It's a man questioning everything. And then, almost quietly, he added, "I hope I can come back." That single sentence turned the world of F1 upside down. Fans panicked. Experts began to speculate. Was he about to retire? Was the Ferrari dream turning into a nightmare? And then came the teaser on social media. A box of matches, black and white images, and the message, "We lit the match, now follow the smoke." Date: August 8th. With that, retirement rumors exploded. Many thought it was all over, that Hungary had broken the most resilient driver of his generation. But now, finally, someone who knows him better than almost anyone else has broken the silence. Toto Wolff, the man who stood by Lewis's side during 6 of his 7 titles, didn't hold back. And no, he didn't minimize Hamilton's pain or pretend that Hungary wasn't a disaster. What he did was much more important. He reminded the world who Lewis Hamilton is. If you're a Hamilton fan, loyal to Ferrari, or just addicted to the chaos of F1, this is the place to be. I'm Julian, I breathe Ferrari, and what Toto just said about Hamilton is crazy. It's not just talk. It's a message that Ferrari can't ignore. So if you live for the drama, rivalry, and raw truths of F1, like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because this story is about to take an unexpected turn. It all started with that now infamous weekend at the Hungaroring, where Hamilton had one of the toughest and most self-critical performances of his entire F1 career. Qualifying was a disaster. He failed to make it out of Q2 and ended up in a disappointing 12th place. Meanwhile, his teammate Charles Leclerc took pole position with one of the best laps of the year on Saturday. The contrast between the two couldn't have been clearer, and it only got worse. On Sunday, Hamilton lost positions, got stuck in a DRS train, and finished the race not only out of the points, but also a lap down on the leaders. Something unthinkable for a 7-time world champion with the prancing horse on his chest. But it wasn't just the result that caught the eye. It was his words. Brutal, honest, devastating. When asked about his performance, Hamilton didn't sugarcoat anything. "I'm useless. Totally useless. You probably need to change drivers." These weren't the words of someone downplaying a bad day. They were the raw emotions of a legend at his lowest point, and they resonated like thunder in the paddock. The media exploded. Is the Hamilton era over? Did he already regret leaving for Ferrari? Was this all a mistake? And just when the noise was deafening, Toto Wolff, the man who experienced the greatest triumphs with Lewis, stepped forward. And what he said stunned everyone. Wolff did not dismiss Hamilton's comments as weakness, nor did he try to cover them up with empty optimism. Instead, he offered insight based on years of knowing the man behind the helmet. He described Lewis's reaction as raw, but also deeply human. He said Hamilton has always worn his heart on his sleeve, that he is emotional, passionate, and that when he feels he has failed, he doesn't hide it. He never has. This was not a sign that he is giving up. It was vulnerability. It was brutal honesty from someone who demands the utmost of himself. And he went further. He made it clear that this has nothing to do with a loss of skill, or age, or losing the spark. Hamilton, Wolff said, is still the greatest of all time. The GOAT. And no weekend, no slump, no difficult season will take that away from him. It was a message not just for Hamilton, but for the entire F1 world. Don't write off someone like Lewis because of one storm. Remember who he is, what he has achieved, and what he still has to give. But there was something else in his words, something deeper. The feeling that this story is not just about one bad race, or even about Hamilton. It's about the future of Formula One. Wolff reminded us that new regulations are coming in 2026. New cars, new engines, a total reset. And if there's one driver who knows how to adapt, who always embraces change and comes back stronger, it's Lewis Hamilton. Toto made it clear, Hamilton has unfinished business with this sport. And when the rules change again, when the ground effect disappears and the playing field is leveled again, Lewis will be there. And that's why, Wolff said, he hopes Hamilton will continue for many more years. And let's not forget Lewis's cryptic announcement on Instagram, scheduled for August 8th. A lit match, a trail of smoke. No context, no explanation. Just a wave of speculation sweeping social media. Retirement? Returning to Mercedes? Launching his own team? Or something completely different? Fashion? Technology? Philanthropy? No one knows. And that's how Lewis likes it. He was asked about it in Belgium, and he just smiled. But sources close to him say it's not about retirement. In fact, it's almost certainly something external, perhaps a new business venture or an initiative within his Mission 44 project. Even so, the timing is no coincidence. Dropping that teaser right after a disastrous GP only fuels the mystery. And for Ferrari, it adds pressure. They're still trying to make this partnership work. They are still adapting operations to Hamilton's style. They are still trying to align their car philosophy with his driving style. And now, they also have to manage the external perception that this whole thing could fall apart before it even gets started. But this is where it gets interesting, because Hamilton is not alone in this. Charles Leclerc also spoke, and what he said will surprise you. He could have stayed silent. He could have let the doubts grow. But no, he defended Hamilton. He said clearly that Hungary was an exception, that Lewis will come back stronger after the break, and that together they can still fight to bring Ferrari back to the top. That's not just a supportive teammate. That's someone who understands the big picture, and Ferrari desperately needs that unity. The truth is that Hamilton has been suffering. That's obvious. He's 42 points behind Leclerc in the championship. He hasn't been on the podium all season. Meanwhile, Leclerc has already done so 5 times. The car has been difficult to drive, especially for someone used to a completely different concept like Mercedes. The transition hasn't been easy, and emotionally, it's taken its toll. But that doesn't mean it's the end. If anything, it's just the toughest chapter in a comeback story that is still being written. One bad race does not define a driver. One emotional comment does not ruin a career. And one frustrated reaction does not mean the partnership is doomed. What Toto Wolff reminded us is that champions are not made when everything is going well. They are defined in the moments when everything is falling apart, and they still decide to keep fighting. That's what Lewis Hamilton is doing right now, fighting against doubt, against disappointment, against the narrative. And while Ferrari may be reeling from this emotional roller coaster, they should also feel hopeful. Because what they have in Hamilton is not just a legend looking for a fairy tale ending. They have a warrior. Someone who still believes, even when the results don't reflect it. Someone willing to suffer the bad days for the chance to build something historic. So as the summer break arrives and we wait for the surprise Hamilton has in store for August 8th, one thing is certain. Lewis Hamilton is not out of the running. Not now, not ever. Because even at his lowest point, he can still come back and take the world's breath away. And if Ferrari manages to weather this storm with him, if they manage to support him, trust him, and give him what he needs, this moment will not be the end of the dream. It will be just the beginning of something even greater.